Okay, I think we can start. Let's see. Let me share my screen. Okay. Let me know when you can see. Can you see my screen? Okay, okay. Everyone, I am Vijay Krishnavanshi. I'm co-founder of Fileverse and also an organizer for SheBuild's team. So, like the reason why I wanted to do this, do this workshop in the middle of the hackathon, is because I think this topic of basically creating or having your website like on an uncensorable platform is something that is very interesting. That I think is will be very interesting for the hackers who are participating in Shables and maybe in different hackathons as well. So, like for I'll start like now that you know about me. What this workshop will cover is basically first I'll tell you a bit about Fileverse, then I'll tell like what is IPFS and how we are using basically uh, like what IPFS has to offer in terms of tech. Then basically will also go into details of how the IPFS is one of the key pieces which makes it an uncensorable tech, right? And then at the end, we'll also go into detail of how to deploy your website on IPFS directly, right? So it's not a regular workshop where you'll just listen, and then get bored at the end. You'll also be able to follow along if you want, or later on look at the live stream that's happening, and be able to follow all the things that I show you in this workshop. Okay, and then at the end we'll also have a Q&A session. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And like yeah, okay, so let's go. Okay, so since like you saw the Fileverse logo, and I told you that I'm co-founder of Fileverse, it makes sense for me to tell you what Fileverse does and why I'm the one of like why I'm the best person like to talk about this uncensorable piece. So, what is Fileverse? Fileverse is a file sharing and online collaboration tool built on top of peer-to-peer technologies. If you want to understand it in one liner, uh, think Google Workspace, but in decentralized context or with decentralized technologies, right? Now, first thing that I want you to do is maybe scan this QR code and go to this link. Uh, I'll I have this link open on my side, but I'll give you half a minute to basically be able to scan it and go to the next step. So what happens after you scan this link is you'll see something like this web page, where what you can do is you can upload any thing that you have. For example, image, video, audio, or any type of file. Okay. So for now, I'll just go ahead and upload like an image that I created using Delhi. So let me what happens now. I'll show you one more thing. Once this image is uploaded onto like Fileverse, what we do is we also put the IPF like file on IPFS and give you the IPFS hash that you can see and basically explore the content of the file without even needing Fileverse in the middle. Now, this is one of the things that I'm showing you. Notice this IPFS hash, and this is what like it means that Fileverse is using IPFS in for storage, right? I'll tell you the importance of this IPFS hash once I start explaining some of the other things. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead. Then you have what is IPFS? That's one of the key question. Like I have been saying IPFS like I think 2-3 times now. So I'll explain. Like there are two ways to look at IPFS right now. If you are like a person like looking at IPFS, what do you want to understand? And for developers, like what it means. For general people, it's a peer-to-peer hypermedia protocol designed to preserve and grow humanity's knowledge by making the web upgradable, resilient, and more open. meaning like you can store anything that you want, and that will be stored on a peer-to-peer network in like in the layman's term. Then you have a protocol, like for developers, how does this definition change? Is like a protocol to share, store information in permissionless manner. What does permissionless here means is like nobody needs to ask permission if they have to store a certain piece of data, or if they have to not store a certain piece of data, right? I'll tell you once we get to the censorship part why this permissionless thing is important. So if you want to think about it, think of it as a data store that knows any content with hash called CIDs, and you can like CIDs means content identifiers. So anything that you store on the internet, whether it be image, it be PDF, it be video, anything like whatever you'll store on the like basically IPFS network will get a CID to identify that content. And then what happens is whenever you need to retrieve that data, you need to use that CID to get that data. This is the IPFS hash that I was showing you earlier when I was talking about the when I uploaded a file to Fileverse and I showed you the IPFS hash. Okay. Now, what makes IPFS uncensorable is basically uh, in IPFS you have a network of nodes, meaning like okay, so basically IPFS is a network of nodes that store data and every piece of information as CIDs. So anything that you store on IPFS gets converted into like a content, and we get a content ID for that content, and that ID is used to identify that information over the internet. Like at any IPFS node, if that information is stored, you can get it using that CID. And every node is free to provide any data, and there is no central server involved, uh, or no central authority to censor the flow of information. Meaning like for example, like if you are also a node, what you can do is like you can start providing if you have that like data for that content ID CID hash, you can start providing that data and nobody is there to stop you from providing that data. And that makes it like censorship resistant and uncensorable in general. Okay. I'll show you like I'll also show you that this part, like when I say that it doesn't need to be coming from one server. I'll show you once we get to the demo part, that how does that get in picture. Okay. uh, like people in China were using it to store and share information at the time of COVID, because there were a lot of like misinformation and like censorship around different kinds of news and all those things. So what people were doing is like they were storing it on IPFS and sharing the CID hashes with everyone, and then anyone can store or pin that hash or provide that data, making it the best way to like deal with censorship. Okay. Next, what I'll do is I'll show you how to deploy a website. Like let's say if you for this hackathon you're working on a project, and what you want is you want to deploy it on IPFS and want to see like how it will look like in real use case. So what I've done is I've created a public repo on Fileverse IPFS deploy. I'll be sending all of these things into the basically into the email, where you can take a look at what different things, like all these resources you can go through them later on as well, so no need to note it down right now. But the thing to note is it's a simple React app. What it does, it gets built, and at the end you get a website which like will be hosting. So for doing this step, what you can do is like you could either build this thing on your local. So by cloning this repo and running yarn build, what you can do is like you can generate a build folder for this on your local, and then upload it to the IPFS, and then you get the IPFS hash back of that website for sharing. There is a service called Fleek, app.fleek.co, which I'll be using to show you how this thing can be automated in the real life scenario as well. Okay. So what you do is like you go to app.fleek.co and you create an account. The account creation is a very simple process, so you don't need to worry about like if you face any issues, let me know. But for now, like what I'll do is I'll just start from this step, like how to add a new site. This is the first thing that you'll be doing. So what you need to do is like you need to connect your GitHub, which I've done already. But in your case, you can do that yourself. And IPFS is decentralized, right? Yeah, it is decentralized. Uh, okay. Meaning like there are different people who are participating in the IPFS network, and anyone can provide information. That's the reason why it's decentralized. Uh, yeah. Okay. So then you have, as you can see, there is this repo that which I showed you, IPFS deploy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this repo, and I'm going to select which hosting service I want to use. If you want to use IPFS, you select that, or if you want to use ICP, Internet Computer, you can do that. But I'll go with IPFS because I like that more than ICP, so it's okay. Now, then you have this, like basically you select the repo, you select the branch that you want to deploy, then you select what different, like basically you can select which framework the repo is of, right? So in this case, it's of Create React App, so I'll go with that. Then I just need to click on deploy site. It's similar to Netlify if you have used. The only difference is that Netlify doesn't publish it to IPFS and Fleek does. So over here, what's happening is the deploy has started. It takes some time. If it happens instantly, good. Otherwise, I'll show you the another thing that I have built already, like what I have the working version of. Okay. By the way, yeah, I forgot to mention one thing that there is a giveaway link that we'll be sharing in this. So since there are less participants, you'll have a higher chance of winning. Okay, let's see. Does it? It takes time sometimes because like it's a free service. If you have a paid plan on this, like it's faster that way. But yeah, so right now it's doing that. So what I'll do is I'll go to the service that I've already deployed. It's the same repo, everything is same. The only difference is that you have this. It's a link that you get to access your website. Okay. So after that deploy is done, you'll see that this is the page. All right. Now the link of this page is typesurf8903.onfleet.co. Uh, the another thing that you should notice is over here, this thing it says verify on IPFS. Okay. Now what does that mean? It means that this website was also published on IPFS network, and it has a particular IPFS hash, which is it's a big hash. So I'm not going to. Can you see my URL bar by the way? Okay, so in that you notice that it is there are two things, right? There is this IPFS hash. This is the hash that was similar to the hash that I had showed you over here, right? So it's the same type of hash. Only the thing is that it's a different content, so it's a different hash. Okay, but the way of generating this hash is similar. Then you have this fleek.ipfs.io/IPFS. This part is called IPFS gateway, and this part is called IPFS hash. Now, when you combine both of these, you get the content that you put on that hash. Like that hash represents whatever content that hash represents. Now, the most interesting part that I'll show you is now, uh, since I know this IPFS hash, what I can do is I can go to a random or a new IPFS hash, like IPFS gateway, and there I can just open that. So like you can see that the same website, the website is now represented by this hash, and anyone can take a look at this hash and see what the content of that website is. Okay. Now, notice that this IPFS, like both of them are different domains, meaning they're managed by different people. So it doesn't matter who's managing it. The only thing that matters is this IPFS hash. Now, anyone who has this hash can go to another, like I'll show you one more cool thing is, let's say w3s.link. Over here, what I can do is I can put the IPFS hash and I can click go. You can see here also, it is doing the same thing, meaning your same website that you deployed using Fleek is now on the internet represented by this hash, and no one controls, basically, uh, no one can stop this website now. They can take away this, basically, they can take away, like, if you're talking about the storage providers or the different type of people, they can take away this thing, for example, this domain name typesurf8903.on.fleek.co, but they can never take away this IPFS hash with which your website is being represented. Okay, and you can use this thing to get that website on any of the IPFS gateways. So that's the coolest part, and that's what it means to be build an uncensorable website. And what I'll tell you guys to try is go ahead, like whatever project that you have built, if it's a front end project, you can go ahead and uh, deploy it using Fleek and get the IPFS hash and use that IPFS hash for, like, share that IPFS hash with everyone. So that's that's what the uncensorable aspect of it is. And for Fileverse, what we have done is we have like we have our website, we have our front end, everything we deploy on IPFS as well. If, let's say, someday we go down, for example, as a company, or we don't exist anymore, you can still access our website using an IPFS hash that we publish on our website. This is the Twitter link. Meanwhile, like before this, if you guys have any, if anyone has any question, please go ahead and ask. And yeah, okay. I think you can unmute yourself if you want. Okay. So one question is, can we host our backend also? No. So for on IPFS, what you can do is, like, you can only publish the front end part of your app. The backend, since there is a processing involved, you can't do that. Okay. Then you have, by using hashes to identify IPFS. By using hashes to identify IPFS, security improved. Didn't get it. Like, what do you mean that by using hashes? I don't understand this question. Maybe you can elaborate that. Then I'll take it up. Can you please share the resources link for the same? Yes, I'll be sharing this. Like, one sec. What I'll do is I'll share a link right now. One second. Do it download. Yeah, I'll share the link right away. Yeah. By using hashes to identify IP faces security. Still don't get it, so can't help. Anyone else, if there's any question? Yeah, we'll be putting all these things in the Discord as well. It's just that I wanted to explain that how the IPFS thing is working, and basically how you can also go ahead and deploy your website on IPFS using Fleek, and then make use of that, like, uncensorable component that I was telling about. Meaning, if you give your your website an IPFS hash, now that website stays forever on the internet as long as somebody's spinning that IPFS hash. And then anyone, for example, me or anyone else, can go ahead and query for that IPFS hash and see what the website was. Okay. Okay. So final slide is, go ahead and follow us on Twitter, and we also, like, are sort of putting all the things related to, basically, uncensorable things and based how to build like what we are doing is we're building the next like components that the internet needs, which are, for example, like tools for collaboration, which are, for example, tools for file sharing, which are, for example, tools for online coordination. So all of those things we're building at Fileverse, and we are open source as well. So if you want, you can go ahead and check out our GitHub, GitHub/Fileverse. So like you can take a look at what we have been doing till now, and you can contribute to what we are working on as well if you want. Okay, so this is one. Now the I think Kanak, can you share the giveaway link? I think yeah. So since we are done with the questions, I wanted to keep intentionally keep the workshop very short. The reason for that was so that like in people can go ahead and keep focusing on their uh, submissions for the hackathon. And here's the giveaway link. Go ahead and fill it out, and we'll select one person at random. Thanks for joining in. We hope that you have amazing time building something for. Okay, let me check. I think it should open for you. Like, mm, do you not see the link, or is it? Try copying and pasting it to the URL. Cool. So yeah, it's working for me as well. Uh, I hope that I also win some uh, giveaway. Okay. Anyways, if you haven't registered for the hackathon, go ahead, register and submit your projects. And we have amazing prizes there. I think, yeah, if anyone has no questions, we can stop the stream. And yeah, and here's the link if you want to follow Fileworks. You just have to search on Twitter Fileworks, and you'll see it. Okay, let me put some of the links in the chat as well. Yes. Okay. I think that's it. Kanak, we can close, right? Yeah. Thank you, everyone.